And good Friday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we begin this day together. Right now, 55. We look for a high to be kind of warm as we'll go to about 82 today. Warm weather. It was kind of hot yesterday, wasn't it? We all felt that. We had a lot to talk about today. Lots going on. We have a lot happening this weekend. I know some rain is coming. Earth's Bounty is going to be coming in. The Soule Festival, downtown Meridian, happens. So if you're going to be out and about, that is something to plan for. And then next week, we'll have the Veterans Day Parade. We'll talk more about it coming up of who, what, and when with that. We'll have some special guests next week. Fan Mac and the crew will come in to tell us about that. Always good to respect and honor our veterans. Don't forget that. Can you believe it's already that time of year? Wow, how it has flown this year so far. Again, 55 as we start today out. A lot to talk about what happened in the Meridian area yesterday and surrounding counties. How's everybody? Brian McCary, I see you're up. Also, Miss Tori Dean. Good to see you there. Joy Robinson is up as well. All right, let's check it and get us a good word to start the day. Let's go out to Collinsville Baptist, see what Brother Ben has to tell us today.
Are you the type of person who tends to worry? Jesus tells us in Matthew 6 that worry isn't good because, first, it's unproductive. You see, worrying alone can't fix anything. You can't even add a single hour to your life by worrying. In fact, it robs you of hours because it's a waste of time and energy. It's just unproductive. But worry is also not good because it's a form of unbelief. You see, when you begin to worry, just take a look around at the birds and the flowers and the grass of the field. God takes care of them, doesn't He? And if He takes care of them, don't you believe He'll take care of you? You're way more valuable to God than those things. And don't you ever doubt that. Beloved, God loves you very much, and He will take care of you if you're His. That's what He promised to do, and God always keeps His promises. You and I really have nothing to worry about. Let that truth change how you face the day. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Always a good way to start the day. Trevor tells us it was a clear drive from 0 over to Pennington, Alabama. What we have this morning is fog due south of Meridian. Is where mainly it's going to be. Mostly showing up in the southwest quarter of Mississippi. Let's take a look here at radar, Meridian Honda radar, and look at this as we see this due south as we'll go deeper into this and come down. Macomb is where we're picking up Brookhaven area down 55 all the way right into Kentwood, Louisiana, to Hammond, those areas along in there. And we've got all of this area starting here in Waynesboro. All of this is under a dense fog advisory, but we see that we've got the most of it on this side. Otherwise, look at the state. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? We also up in this area, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and the extreme corner here, Mississippi. We do have a wind advisory here. It's going to be some severe weather tonight. Let's go ahead and take a look at this before we get into the headlines this morning so that you'll kind of know what's happening. This is what we're expecting tonight. Just this western side of Mississippi, Vicksburg, back west to the Delta area, could see some thunderstorm activity. It gets a little worse between there and Monroe. And once you reach Ruston, all the way into Shreveport, those areas to Longview, Texas, back down to Austin, could see some very, very severe weather tonight. Again, it will remain west of Mississippi. We'll be okay. We're going to get some rain late tonight and more tomorrow. But the bad stuff stays away from us. That's the good news. Again, we'll have a complete look at your forecast coming up in just a moment so you'll know how to plan and what to do. We had a call that came out last night that there had been a wreck near Meridian High School. Fortunately, it isn't as bad as when it first came out. This would be near Meridian High School involving 2 four-wheelers as we look at this. These were juveniles that were involved in this. At first, I think it was thought to be a little bit worse, and then it was just maybe some minor injuries once authorities got there. Still a scary thing involving minors in that area there, well after dark. Don't know why they were there. That's what we know at this point. It almost seems, and I think that most people that watch have kept up with what areas of town is just kind of turned into the wild, wild west, so to speak. We're seeing that in the streets of Meridian right now. And we'll start with where gunfire was reported yesterday afternoon. We pull this up, and this is what we got. 5th Street, somewhere along Hooper Street, start getting reports of gunshots in these areas. And again, this is Highway 19 going toward College Park, just east of there. We would hear gunshots were happening over and over. Multiple people were letting me know that something's going on. There's a car that just sped by, possibly two. Gunfire coming out of it. And as the dust settled, this is what we would find. Multiple homes were hit with gunfire yesterday. Let's blow this up just a little bit bigger here. All of this area here, north of here, up 46 through here, before we get to 8th Street, was hit with gunfire. At least 3 homes. Now, could there be more? Absolutely. That's what I know about at this point, was 3 of these homes were hit. Fortunately, some way, somehow, no one was hit. It's a miracle. We're talking casings scattered all over the street. This was not just a bang, bang. This was more serious than that. Lots more serious. As we see this area, both sides of Highway 19, continuing gunfire back and forth. Broad daylight. It is no longer in the darkness of night when people do bad things. It's on our streets during the daytime. Police do what they can. We'll talk a whole lot more about this morning, beginning at 8 a.m. I hope you'll join us. We've got Sheriff Billy Solly coming in to discuss with us a lot of things. He'll be with us beginning at 8 right here on YouTube, Facebook, and also we'll be on television as well. Hope you'll join us as we'll learn a lot from him today. As we look at other things, we have just sad news. We do not have a name yet, but as we go to sammedia.network, we do know that a young lady has lost her life in Meridian with a wreck that happened on 20th Street yesterday afternoon. It involved a Toyota Camry and a Cadillac. More or less, cars would hit head-on. One would flip. Both would be in serious condition. The young lady died at the scene of the accident. The other person was taken to the hospital. We do not know their condition at this point. I know that there's a lot of prayers needed for both sides of the families involved in this. As we looked at the young lady that lost her life, there were 3 other passengers in the car, one an infant. They were all okay, thank heavens. Could have been even worse than it is. But sad news to have to report that happened a little bit after lunch. I'd say 12:15, 12:20, somewhere right along in there, as the call came out for emergency responders to come for help in that area there. 2-lane street. Traffic was held up for quite some time as people watched this. We get a note from Neshoba County, and a very serious note with this. They've had an issue in Neshoba County, and this comes from Sheriff Eric Clark as he brings us news here. As we watch this, he's warning you, do not pass school buses. It can cause accidents, and they will write tickets for this. Nothing has happened so far, but they've got many, many reports of people with lack of concern and disregard for the safety of children passing school buses when they stop. The Sheriff's Department is going to be high alert as they continue to monitor all of this. So we don't need anything involving a child that is hurt, especially when it comes to a school bus. And again, Neshoba County, and this goes for any county as we put this out. When they stop, come to a stop. If you're consistently bumping into one, you don't like it, leave home a little bit earlier. That's the best thing to do. Learn those routes and what time to be from behind one for miles if you've got to be somewhere timely. As we look at this is great news for the state of Mississippi. Mississippi has finalized one of its largest economic development projects in state history. Y'all heard about this? Lowndes County is going to be getting an aluminum factory. Average pay out of this is going to be about $93,000 a year. Wow, the economy is going to be doing good in there. We'll talk more this morning about what's happened in East Mississippi. Anybody seen anything develop down here lately? I haven't. We do have an East Mississippi Development Business Association. Right, we'll talk more about that this morning, won't we? We see that in Jackson, Mississippi, as we go west of here, and we see this all too often in cities. Now, the official reason is not given. It's just they reevaluated is basically the answer that was given. A Walgreens is closing in Jackson as they close their doors, and often we know that there's more than what a statement says, but a Walgreens is leaving the area there. At the end of the month, it will go, and a lot of the citizens in that area are worried about where they'll get their medicine. There'll be another place, but that one's closing. As we all know, with every business, they have to factor in theft. They have to factor in lots of things that goes on in those stores to make a profit. Again, they did not give that for the reason, but one can only read between the lines to realize that they're not making money. That's why a store would be closed. That's the truth of the matter. As we go to our next headline, as we look about this, we go to Jackson, also a food delivery guy. Yeah, people like that deliver pizza or whatnot, was shot while he was delivering food. I doubt he'll want to go back to that neighborhood anymore. He's going to be all right, but wounded he is, and, well, that shouldn't happen, should it? We see that a Jackson, Mississippi man is getting 20 years behind bars. Not unusual this day and time, and 20 years may not even mean that he'll give it. What did he do? A car chase pursuit? He stopped long enough to swing a rifle out the window and shoot at the police. 20 years is what he got for that. We go to Lawrence County, Mississippi for our next headline this morning of what's going on. 911 dispatch received a call of a incident going on. And that's basically all they said. Once deputies would arrive, they would found a husband lying dead. The wife has been taken into custody. They are not releasing any other information at this point in time. What could have led to that, we do not know. Lawrence County is where that happened. Hopefully they'll pass along more information as that is developed, but slowly going there as we find out more. 10 counties across the state of Mississippi, and it happens. I can remember riding them as a kid, the school buses. A little bit of money is being passed out of those to upgrade a few of the old school buses, and we see that Louisville is getting some money to replace at least one school bus that, well, needs to be retired. $54,000 for a school bus. That's a chunk of change, isn't it? Surprised this day and time that you could even get one for that much. This is good. Now, we saw a few weeks ago, and I think we all remember this. You remember the 3 guys that were working on a farm in the Mississippi Delta? They fell into a grain bin, or it accidentally turned on. Usually when we tell a story about this, it doesn't have a good ending at all. This one does. Lamar County, a guy fell into a grain bin. He was rescued. He's going to be okay. That is great, wonderful news as we look at headlines this morning there. Usually doesn't turn out with that way. You can easily be suffocated in one of these. It's not like the movies where you crawl out. In reality, it's a lot worse than that. Now, let's see here. Lawanda, good morning there. See a lot of y'all up and at 'em today. From Union, Mississippi, Kathy Sharp joining us. Good to see you there. As we look at this, Noxubee County has arrested a man and then charged a woman. What did they do? Accused of a sex crime. He was arrested. The father reported it. The reason she was arrested was she was aware of what happened and didn't report it to police. Now, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. It'll go to court, but Noxubee County is where that comes from this morning. We had this happen not long ago in the Meridian area as we go to Okolona, Mississippi for a headline this morning. Horrifying as we see this. We've lost another life in a traffic accident involving someone on a tractor. 46-year-old Tart Stewart was driving on Highway 45 alternate when he was struck by a car. No word on who was driving the car, but he was thrown from the tractor. He lost his life at the scene of the accident, coming from the Mississippi Highway Patrol. Condolences to the family members of that. I've done it. I think probably most everybody that's ever been on a tractor has had to use a highway at some point. Always good if you can. I know you're by yourself from time to time when you're working in the fields and moving from one plot of land to another. Always good to have an escort behind you if at all possible. I know it doesn't always work that way. You can be off by yourself. Those little things like hay rides of having someone follow behind you. And I know what you're thinking. It's easier to sit here and say it after the fact. It is. Just something to plan for in the future. And again, I know it's not feasible in every situation, but when you can have someone right behind that tractor, could save your life. It's not worth it. Boy, they had a big time in South Mississippi as we go down to Pearl River. It's right down toward the Louisiana line. I've been there. Had to stay there a little while some years ago when I had to go work a job. 16 people were taken into custody as they did a drug roundup. I think they were looking for about 34. They did get 16 in cuffs and haul them off. Big sting operation When those boys show up to town, they mean serious business. A few folks are going to be behind bars as they escort them toward the local jail. This one, never easy to talk about, as minors are our future. And we all hate that anybody could take advantage of a child. This one, as we look at this, we go to Prattville, Alabama. Anybody know where Prattville is? A school teacher has been arrested. Now, the person is above 18. He's accused of, there's a lot of things that I won't go into detail that they describe, but basically asking a student to is the word, have relations, I guess you could say that. For whatever reason, the 18-year-old student was at his home. We don't know why. He's been taken into to custody over the situation. They are investigating. He hasn't lost his job or anything. He's still listed as a teacher there. Daniel James D.J. Foreman, a coach and also a teacher. We'll find out more about this as this develops. And I know you're thinking, what was she doing at a teacher's home? I have no idea. Does make you wonder, though, doesn't it? This is neat. Maybe we need more of these. I know that every so often, Stonewall, Mississippi, y'all get together and have the, Motors, and I'm not remembering it right. I'll have to ask again. But basically a drive-in theater. Y'all make it there and you bring your car and watch. But officially, the Gulf Coast of Mississippi is getting a drive-in theater. Reckon that could ever make a comeback? Let's hope so. They're betting on it. They're going to be putting in one. Tickets, not all that bad. Now, I haven't been to a movie in years upon years. I'm not sure what it costs to go into a theater. You know it's not cheap to build a theater. But it looks like tickets for this are going to be roughly $6 a head and $3 for children. Interesting, isn't it? Maybe this will work and take off again to where America will have these scattered across the U.S. Always a good time. Good family fun. Some stories just don't make sense. I'm just going to leave that one alone. We see that as somebody fighting over a paycheck. I mean, really. That's what that, it just doesn't add up as you look at headlines across Mississippi. Somebody owes you, pay them. And that's what it all boils down to. We go to USM to find out, as they released that the University of Southern Mississippi has announced the passing of Ray Guy. He passed away yesterday from a lengthy illness, 72 years old, I believe is what he was. He was a punter. He was in the NFL for the Los Angeles Raiders from 73 to 86, and a lot of folks refer to him as the greatest punter of all time, credited for giving the word hang time. That's what they're telling us there. So good news on that. Let me close that. I had something pop up on the screen. And we pass condolences to his family as we see a headline come out of that. Yesterday afternoon, he passed away. Don't forget this. Mark this on your calendars, because this will affect you come Sunday morning. You'll be we're falling back, aren't we? Time change happens this weekend, and you set your clock back an hour. It's going to be some grumpy people come Monday morning. There's no way to word this. You'll have to get up a little early. You're going to lose an hour's worth of sleep with whatever you do. Now, I know Tennessee has even passed a law that says they're doing away with it, but until you get, I think it's from the federals, they have to get approval and thumbs up on it, and it has not been given. I do think it's time that in the U.S. we settle on one time zone and quit this back and forth, and a lot of people agree with that. Am I right that originally daylight savings time had to do with farming, to where it helped people get the crops up and dealing with kids in school, helping out? I somehow or another think that's how it began, but it's most likely time for that to change, as it does interrupt different things. Again, before you go to bed, if you've got the old time clock, now your cell phone will set itself, and digital, most of them do nowadays, to the place in Colorado. But if you've got the old kind that you manually set, your cars and all of that, you're going to have to refix all of that. And yes, there are clocks that you never can figure out how to set, isn't it? It's just too much trouble. And every time you look at it, you go, yeah, let me add or subtract an hour. We've all done it. Let's don't act like we haven't. This is, as we look at a couple of headlines this morning, let's go to North Carolina. This is very disturbing. A Republican running for office. He's, from the best I can tell, a single dad, and had left his children with his parents to care for him as he was on the campaign trail. His home, where his children were shot up, attacked. Doesn't matter whether he's Republican or Democrat. It's bad that people would shoot at someone running for office with children in a home. They've been relocated for safety until that. He's even started wearing bulletproof vests to rallies. I mean, come on, America. This really makes no sense as we look at this. If you work somewhere and they decide that, well, you're no longer a valid employee, it is what it is. But Twitter employees are a little bit upset as they plan to do a lawsuit against Elon for firing them. Said they didn't get enough notice that they were going to lose their job. You're still losing it regardless. Oprah, this is shocking because I thought they really were like buds. Dr. Oz, she had him for 20 years. She is not endorsing him. She is endorsing his opponent. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't. I really thought Oprah would be behind him, but that's not the case as Dr. Oz faces it. I think he's at 2 points ahead is what they're giving him now. Tuesday is the day. We'll find out what happens across America as we go to vote. We'll talk about voting this morning. Truly, it does not matter what side of the fence you're on. Just make sure you go vote. Whatever you feel in your heart, what you feel is good for your family, go vote that. And we'll see where the chips fall on Tuesday night. In some cases, it will take till Friday before we find out what happened to the days where the next morning they could count ballots and you'd know who won. Those days may be gone forever in America. Who knows? We've got more to come. We've got your forecast. We'll look at this to let you know what's happening this weekend. All that's next as well. We begin this Friday together. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. For something as valuable as your eyes, you should have your lenses and contact lenses made with the utmost care and precision. And that's what Grayson Optical does on 24th Avenue. Since 1996, Grayson Optical's mission has been to provide Meridian and surrounding areas with quality eye care products. That's why we're locally owned and operated. And don't forget custom-made sunglasses like Costa for your eyes only. When you need to see clearly, Grayson Optical, 2021 24th Avenue, Meridian. Well, I didn't know this. Stacey Carroll pointed out in Demopolis, Alabama, they have a drive-in theater. I had no clue. I haven't been for, 3, 4, 5 years now to Christmas on the River. What a beautiful thing. That'll be coming up before we know it also. Lamar, how are you doing this morning? Good to see you there. Jean Ulmer is up. Terry Ray says she does also agree that she thinks that the daylight saving times was for farmers. Started back in World War II, LaWanda says. David Boswell. Oprah's not crossing party lines. That makes sense. Time to do away with daylights. Bob agrees with that. I think it has reached that point. Now, I personally like having a little bit more time outside to do more things after work. I'd like that if we could ever rig that to where it could stay. You know, where you mow grass after you get done what you got to do to make a living. Those types of things. Well, let's get into your forecast this morning. We'll come back and look at radar. Let's find out what the weekend holds for us as we start this Friday.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we go back for our record highs and record lows, 2016 was just a warm year for us this time of year. 85, the high was set back in 66, which seems to be one of the coldest days. It's been up and down in the 20s since 1966 on this day. 24 it was some many moons ago. As we look today, breezy is expected to our west as we look out here. 82 today, and for the most part, it's going to be sunshine. A few clouds early, then breaking loose. Even 82 all the way up through Philadelphia. We get to Louisville, and we'll see about 80 in between Columbus and Stark, Vegas. Down south, we'll go to 83 degrees in Hattiesburg, Laurel, those areas. Back over to Natchez, looks to be about 84. That stretch along the Mississippi River. Well, even 85 up in the Delta. Now, again, as we'll look at this, we'll tell you about this nighttime weather that is coming there. As we look at this, Alex City over in Bama looks to be 77, as well as Auburn. We'll see 79. over in Tuscaloosa and as well all up through Livingston, these areas here right on the west side of Alabama. As we see that this fog, let's start with the gusty winds. Gusty winds are likely. Now I got it all messed up, don't I? This is the fog. Due south of us, it will all be south of I-20. Worse as we get down here, and what we're really showing the fog on radar is back over in this area around Brookhaven and this area so far this morning. It can creep across here through 9. All of this area right through here, a dense fog advisory through 10 a.m. this morning. Now, let's look at this, where I got tongue twisted there. Storms tonight are possible in western Mississippi along the line from the Mississippi Delta all the way down through Vicksburg, Port Gibson, down to Natchez in this area. As we move right into Louisiana, it will up to a level 2 with severe storms, and then moving west back into Texas being extremely bad weather. You'll see some weather chasers in that area tonight as tornadic activity can happen back to our west in Texas. Nothing bad for our area. Light rain moving into the area. But western Mississippi, y'all be ready. In Vicksburg, if you're watching from that side of the state, it will be wet. With that, the Mississippi Delta will be at a level 1 here on wind advisories from Yazoo up through Greenwood. All of this area here will have some of this very serious sustained winds up to 25, gusts of up to about 45. Limbs can break, knock out power. We know how that works. And we'll go back and look at radar in a second, again, to take a closer look at that. As we see that we're under warmer temperatures, 82 today. Goes all the way over to Georgia, up to the Carolinas, even warmer as we see this. Back to our west, we see some normal temperatures starting to move into western Texas. So it'll take a little bit before it reaches us. As we look at our 7-day forecast, look at this, 81. That rain will hit tomorrow, and look at that temperature drop. 90% chance of the wet stuff tomorrow. 63 for a low, but 70 is all we'll get on the temperature side. Sunday, as the rain moves out, 78 is what we're expecting on the temperature for Sunday. Now, as we look at this rain, what are we doing? Basically, it's in and out all day. Chances of rain from 1 until 4, and then chance of showers after 4. So it's there. We're going to have gusts of about 30 miles an hour tomorrow. It's going to be a wet, little rainy day is what we're looking at. By Monday, it's all out. We get to 81 again. And by Wednesday, we'll start seeing temperatures dip again to 73. Let's go another week into this. Look at that. 60s are on the way by mid-month. That's comforting. Almost feel like some fall weather. 64 beginning on the 12th, and it won't get above 65 all the way through the 18th as we head toward Thanksgiving, as it looks to be pretty good. Only a 30% chance of showers as we look at the 11th. That's when Veterans Day Parade is going to be happening in Meridian at 3 o'clock that afternoon. So we look forward to that. As we look, this is what's happening out in the tropics. 10% chance here. Lisa moving along. She's a tropical storm at 46 miles an hour. Not much to that. It's going to go up and loop back in. We'll look at radar in just a second. Best times to fish as we take a look at Chet's. Today is going to be 9 o'clock this morning till 11 if you're going to be out. Major time to go fish there. Chet's Paint and Body. Again, gusts will be anywhere from 20 to 30 today. Keep it in mind as you're out and about doing what you got to do. Quickly, we'll go back over and look at radar to give you a bird's eye view of what to expect today. Let me pull this up, and here we go to Meridian Honda radar. Again, that severe weather, western Mississippi along these areas. Severe weather from Austin, Shreveport, El Dorado, Hot Springs, up to Fort Smith. All of this area here just west of Monroe, keep in mind, could be some very, very serious weather tonight. Let's turn that off and look at your radar. Again, we're starting now to show some heavier fog right around Hattiesburg over to New Augusta, Beaumont, those areas. Due south of Laurel, y'all be careful. Anytime in between this area, Waynesboro through 10 o'clock could have some fog today. We're coming up 1 hour and 1 minute. Billy Solly's coming to join us, the sheriff of Lauderdale County. Y'all join in. It's going to be an interesting show. Billy has a lot to talk about this morning. Come be a part of it. See us, won't you? Join us. Candace will be in an hour from now. It's going to be a large time. We can't do it without you each and every day. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon from the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: